Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the star of our show, Terry.
Hi, everyone. I want you all to close your eyes and imagine a stage drenched in purple light, a guitar crying out like it's alive, and a man, small in stature but larger than life, commanding the world's attention. That was Prince. He was more than a musician, he was a force of nature, a singer, songwriter, producer, performer, and pure creative genius who refused to be defined by anyone's rules but his own. Welcome, everyone, back to The Music and Me. I'm your host, Terry, and today, as you might have guessed, we're diving into the electrifying world of one of music's boldest and most mysterious icons, Prince Rogers Nelson. You know the hits: Purple Rain, When Doves Cry, Kiss, 1999. But behind those songs was a man who broke barriers, rewrote what pop could sound like, and redefined what it meant to be free as an artist. So in this episode, we're going to journey through Prince's life, from a talented kid in Minneapolis with a dream to a global superstar who painted the world purple. We'll talk about his groundbreaking albums, his battle for artistic control, and the legacy he left behind that still inspires musicians today. So, grab your purple jacket, turn up the volume, and let's go crazy, because the story of Prince is one wild, beautiful ride. Before the fame, before the purple lights and roaring crowds, there was just a kid from Minneapolis, a quiet, gifted boy named Prince Rogers Nelson. Prince was born into a musical family. His father was a jazz pianist and his mother a singer. So music ran through his veins from the start. But his childhood wasn't always easy. His parents separated when he was young, and he moved around a lot, searching for a sense of home. Still, music became his escape, his world. By the time he was a teenager, Prince could play piano, drums, bass, and guitar, all self-taught. He had this incredible drive, this confidence that set him apart. While most kids were out playing ball, Prince was locked away in his room teaching himself how to record songs and chase the perfect sound. When he was just 19, he signed his first deal with Warner Brothers. And here's the amazing part: he negotiated full creative control of his music. Think about that. A teenager demanding the freedom to produce, arrange, and perform every instrument on his debut album. That first record, For You, came out in 1978. And though it didn't make him a star yet, it made one thing clear. Prince was no ordinary artist. He wasn't going to follow anyone else's path. He was going to make his own. And soon, the world was going to find out just how extraordinary that path would be. Because as the 1980s rolled in, Prince wasn't just making music. He was starting a revolution. And soon, the world would be painted purple. So 1984 wasn't just another year in music. It was the year everything turned purple. Prince had already started making waves with albums like Dirty Mind, Controversy in 1999. Each one blurred genres: funk, rock, R&B, pop, and pushed the limits of what mainstream music could sound like. He was fearless, sexy, mysterious, unpredictable. And then came Purple Rain. Purple Rain wasn't just an album, it was an experience. It was a movie, which I do have to admit I have not seen, a soundtrack, and a statement all at once. And it changed music forever. Picture this: a young man from Minneapolis takes the world by storm, dressed in lace, ruffles, and that unforgettable purple coat, riding a motorcycle through the city streets while singing about love, loss, and redemption. It was bold, it was emotional, and it was pure Prince. The songs became instant classics: When Doves Cry, Let's Go Crazy, which is my favorite Prince song, and of course, the soaring, soul-stirring title track, Purple Rain. That song, in particular, is one of those rare moments where music feels almost spiritual. It's a prayer, a goodbye, and a celebration all in one. When he performed Purple Rain live, you could see it. The emotion in his face, the way he poured every bit of himself into every note. It was as if he wasn't just performing, he was channeling something bigger. The Purple Rain film told a semi-autobiographical story, a musician fighting to make his voice heard, torn between pain and passion. And the world loved it. I am ashamed I have not seen that movie, but I will watch it. The soundtrack won Grammys, an Academy Award, and turned Prince into a global superstar. But more than the fame, Purple Rain was about freedom, artistic, emotional, and personal. Prince showed the world that being yourself, no matter how different, was something to be celebrated. For Prince, that purple wasn't just a color, it was a symbol of creativity, individuality, and power. And though he could have stayed in that moment forever, Prince was never one to stand still. Because when you're a true artist, you don't just repeat greatness, you redefine it. By the early 1990s, Prince had already conquered the music world. Grammys, sold-out tours, and millions of fans who worshipped every move he made. But behind the glamour and the glitter, something was brewing. Prince was frustrated. You see, while he created the music, the record label, Warner Brothers, owned it. Every song, every master recording. For someone like Prince, who believes so deeply in creative independence, that was unbearable. He wanted control, not out of greed, but out of principle. He once said, "If you don't own your masters own you." So, in true Prince fashion, he didn't complain, he made a statement. In 1993, he changed his name to an unpronounceable symbol, a blend of the male and female signs, and became known as the artist formerly known as Prince. It was his way of rejecting the system that tried to define and confine him. People were confused, the media laughed, but Prince didn't care. Every time he appeared in public, he had the word slave written on his cheek, a bold protest against the music industry's control over artists. And yet, through all that, he kept creating, writing, producing, recording. He even released music independently, proving that he didn't need anyone's permission to make art. And here's a fun twist. Even while fighting for his own rights, he was still giving hits to others. Prince wasn't just standing up for himself, he was standing up for every artist who ever felt silenced by the industry. He proved that true artistry can't be owned, controlled, or boxed in. It's meant to be free, just like him. Even after Purple Rain and his battle with the music industry, Prince never stopped creating. If anything, that freedom only fueled him more. Throughout the late 80s, 90s, and 2000s, he kept reinventing his sound, never staying in one box for too long. One moment, he'd be dropping a funk anthem. The next, a raw, emotional ballad or a hard-hitting rock track. You never quite knew what was coming next, and that was the beauty of it. Albums like Sign of the Times, Diamonds and Pearls, and Musicology showed you just how limitless he was. He could blend genres in a way that made you feel like you were hearing something entirely new. And then there were his live performances. Nobody, and I mean nobody, performed like Prince. He didn't just sing, he electrified. Every move, every note, every look, it was pure showmanship, wrapped up in emotion and skill. One of his most legendary performances came at the 2007 Super Bowl halftime show. It was pouring rain, the kind of storm that could have easily ruined the night. But not for Prince. He stepped onto that stage, guitar in hand, hair dripping wet, and launched into Purple Rain. And in that moment, something magical happened. The rain became part of the show, like the heavens were playing along. It wasn't just a concert, it was a spiritual experience. Fans still call it one of the greatest halftime shows of all time. And for good reason. Prince didn't just make music, he lived it. Every chord, every lyric, every performance was an expression of his soul. And even as trends changed and new artists emerged, Prince stayed authentically himself, constantly evolving, yet always unmistakably Prince. But as time went on, the question wasn't just about his sound, it was about his legacy. What would Prince leave behind for the generations that followed? And then, on April 21st, 2016, the world turned a little quieter. News broke that Prince had passed away at his Paisley Park home in Minnesota. And for so many of us, it didn't feel real. It was like losing a light, one that had always burned bright, unpredictable, and full of color. Fans all over the world mourned. Cities lit up their skylines in purple. People gathered to sing his songs, dance, and celebrate the man who had given them the courage to be themselves. Because that's what Prince really gave us, more than just music. He gave us freedom. Freedom to express, freedom to be bold, freedom to not fit in. Prince was an artist who refused to be ordinary. He challenged conventions, blurred boundaries, and showed the world that art should never be safe. It should be fearless. And his influence, it's everywhere. You can hear it in the funk of Bruno Mars, the confidence of Beyoncé, the creativity of Janelle Monáe, and the emotion of The Weeknd. Each of them carries a spark of Prince's fire, that daring mix of soul, sexiness, and self-expression. And even now, years later, his vault at Paisley Park is said to hold thousands of unreleased songs. Proof that his creativity never stopped. He was always writing, always experimenting, always reaching for something new. For me, Prince represents possibility. He reminds me that music isn't just sound, it's emotion, color, and truth. He made people feel seen, powerful, and alive. When I listen to Purple Rain or Let's Go Crazy, which is my favorite, I can't help but feel uplifted. Like his energy is still out there, pushing us all to be a little braver, a little bolder, and a little more ourselves. Prince may be gone, but his spirit, that still dances in every beat. All right, everybody, you know I always love giving you all a few fun facts. You know, the kind of things that make you go, wait, what? So, here's some musical fun facts about Prince. First off, Prince was a musical prodigy in every sense of the word. On his very first album, For You, he played all 27 instruments himself. Every guitar lick, every drum beat, and every harmony. It was all Prince. That's almost unheard of, especially for a debut record. And get this, Prince wrote his very first song when he was just 7 years old. It was called Funk Machine, and with a title like that, you can already tell where his sound was headed. And here's another one. Prince was way ahead of his time when it came to online music. Back in the late 90s and early 2000s, long before streaming was a thing, he launched his own website and sold his music directly to fans. So basically, he predicted the future of how we'd all listen to music. But one of my favorite things that I have always loved about Prince is that his talent didn't stop at his own music. He had so much creativity inside him that it spilled over into songs for other artists, and many of them became massive hits. For example, that fun and catchy 80s anthem Manic Monday by the Bangles, that was Prince writing under the name Christopher. Or the emotional powerhouse Nothing Compares to You, which was made famous by Sinead O'Connor, that came straight from Prince's heart. He also wrote I Feel For You for Chaka Khan, blending funk, soul, and pop in a way that only he could. It's just amazing to realize that even when Prince wasn't the one singing, his genius was still shaping the soundtrack of our lives. His music was everywhere, and that's part of what makes his legacy so unforgettable. And that is what I love most about Prince. He wasn't just one thing, he was everything. A singer, songwriter, producer, performer, and a visionary. His music continues to move people, inspire creativity, and remind us all to stay true to who we are. Because if there's one thing Prince taught us, it's that being yourself completely and unapologetically is the most powerful thing that you can be. Every time I hear Purple Rain, something inside me stirs. It's not just the melody or the emotion in Prince's voice, it's the feeling behind it. That mix of longing, power, and peace all at once. Prince had this rare gift. He could make you feel something deep. Whether it was joy, pain, love, or rebellion, he poured his soul into every note. And somehow, even though he's no longer here, his presence is still everywhere. In his music, in the artists he's inspired, in the courage that he gave others to stand out and be unapologetically himself. Prince once said, "A strong spirit transcends rules." And that's exactly what he did. He transcended every box, every label, every rule that the world tried to put around him. He was rock and R&B, funk and pop, spiritual and sensual, all at the same time. He showed us that being different isn't something to hide, it's something to celebrate. And that's what I always carry with me when I listen to his music. And that brings us to the end of today's episode. Prince wasn't just an artist, he was a whole experience. His music made us dance, cry, and feel deeply all at once. He reminded us that creativity has no limits and that being yourself, fully and fearlessly, is the greatest kind of freedom. His legacy lives on every time we turn up Purple Rain, sing along to Let's Go Crazy, or even groove to a song we didn't realize he wrote. Prince's music is everywhere, and that's the beautiful thing about true artistry. It never really fades. I want to thank you so much for joining me on this journey through his incredible life and music. And if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow the music and me so you don't miss what's coming next, because next time we're heading into the world of television. I'll be talking about some of the most iconic TV theme songs of all time. You know, the ones that instantly bring back memories, make us smile, and maybe even get stuck in our heads for days. Until then, keep listening, keep feeling, and keep letting the music in you shine. Peace out, everyone. This has been the Music in Me podcast. Subscribe now so you don't miss a beat.